For well, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you are in. Bienvenidos, one and all. I am Sandy Yannone, your host of Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. And if it is the second Sunday of the month, that means it is our new books showcase. And today, do we have a beautiful, beautiful spectacle of a showcase for you all. Just to give you a little bit of context before I do a little bit of housekeeping, we've been talking about Santa suits, bear suits, ram suits, and mascots before the reading started. That should give you a little inkling, and certainly not any inkling, as to what you are about to experience with the poetry today. And our poets today are Laura Daniels, Jabaily-Blackburn, Patricia Clark, and Lillo. I've had this one circled on my calendar for months. We'll stop there. My enthusiasm this weekend is at a fairly fever pitch. So I warn you, buckle yourselves in for the reading today. And we're going to have the most beautiful, beautiful reading, I can assure you, from these four glorious, glorious poets. I want to also wish everybody Happy Mother's Day. There are all kinds of ways to be mamas out there. All kinds of ways.
Close my bed.
So whatever way you fit the bill, happy day to you. Happy day to you. I'm joining you here from Old Saybrook, Connecticut. It's a nice sunny day. And as I said, we're in for the most beautiful 90 minutes. A little less than that now. And before we head to, as I said, a little bit of housekeeping, let me thank our exquisite, exquisite readers from last week, Sunday. It was our Poets Focus on Science/Fiction. Lynn McGee and Kim Roberts and Michael Gushu, who were collaborators. What an amazing double feature of new books they were for our feature on science/fiction, and all of you on the open mic. I loved it. I want to thank Kim for coming up with the idea. It was terrific. Excellent job as always. You coming up with these beautiful themes that just draw out such creativity in people. So thank you very much to Lynn, Kim, and Michael, and of course all of you on the open mic. And I'll give you a bit of a program, upcoming features at the end of the program today. But let's pivot to today's program, our new book showcase. We have just four wonderful books to explore with you, and possibly some new work beyond the new work, the new books, possibly sprinkled in. Sometimes people bring beautiful surprises, all kinds of packages. And so we'll see how things go with our four readers today. As I mentioned, Laura Daniels, Jabaily-Blackburn, Patricia Clark, and Lillo. A reminder that today the chat is live here in our Zoom studio. Thanks to all of you joining us live. Those of you who might be watching us on YouTube and Facebook Live as well, we welcome you. And of course, I always like to give a shout out to those of you who are watching the recordings. Live, of course, links to our four readers' books will be available in the chat. And tomorrow, thanks to Kim Ports Parsons, over in Facebook, you will have the opportunity as well to grab that link for the new book and to everything possible, your resources that you have available to you. I cannot think of a better gift for anyone, particularly on Mother's Day. Who doesn't want poetry? Who doesn't want poetry? And just to plea that poetry, I believe poetry right now is one of the things that is holding us all together and keeping us vibrant, alive, stable. You know, we're holding the lines, and we're using poetry to do it every day, and we're using our voices to speak out, call things out. When we see it, we say it. And poetry is contributing to that immensely in cultures, not just in the United States, but all across the world. And to that degree, we need to use our resources as we can to support the poets in purchasing their collections, and which supports the presses from keeping their collections going. So again, please, to the degree possible and desirous to you, please do consider purchasing 1, 2, 3, 4, 24 of the books. You know, just stash them and give them to people like as you see them. That's kind of what I do with. I went to a reading earlier this year at R.J. Julia bookstore here in Madison, Connecticut, where the poet, some of you probably know the poet, Reginald Dwayne Betts, he literally told people, I want you to buy 2 copies of my book. Buy 2. So I did. So that's my, please support the presses, please support the poets, and of course, support the poets live today in the chat with your comments, respectful and enthusiastic as we venture into this reading on this Sunday, May 11th, Mother's Day. Well, we're going to begin with Laura Daniels. And before I read the formal bios, Laura's formal bio, I want to just say something. I love that this reading series that we have here on Cultivating Voices, we bring a person whose first book has just come out with people who have like 10 books. That might not be the case today, but people who have multiple books are reading aside a debut collection. I really love that about our reading series, that we amplify people at various places where they're at. And it's so for me, because I also remember being that person whose first book was just coming out. It wasn't that long ago, my friends. It was only in 2019. That, you know, I have a really warm, fuzzy place in my heart for that person. Because we can all go back there. I think we can all go back there. And it's a good idea to go back there because it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. And it also provides us with perspective of where we've traveled to. It helps give us some sense of accomplishment, hopefully not too much anxiety. So it is really my joy to have the first person today, Laura Daniels, be that person who is, reading from new collection, debut collection. It's very exciting for me, and I love that you're here with us, and thank you for entrusting us with that deep honor of hosting you. Well, let's go to Laura's formal bio. Laura Daniels is a neurodivergent writer, founder of the Facebook blog The Fringe 999, otherwise known as 999, and editor of the Fringe 999 Poetry Forum. She's been curated in One Art. I love the use of that word, curated, as opposed to I've been published in. Curated in One Art, Journal of New Jersey Poets, and Smarty Pants magazine for kids. She facilitates a free monthly online writing workshop through Mary's Place by the Sea for women touched by cancer. Her book, Gentle Grass from Kelsay Books, is her debut collection. Brava, brava.
Great.
Her poems grow from a love of learning and New Jersey, where she lives with her partner in Mount Arlington and works in the community garden growing berries. Would you please welcome Laura Daniels?
Thank you, Sandy. That was a wonderful introduction. I guess I'll start, since it is a lot of people, this might be the first time you're hearing my poetry. I could tell you a little bit about my poems, that they're written for those that like to gently grasp the wonders that are around us. And the poems I'll be reading today are a snippet from the collection, Gentle Grass. Um, Let me see if there's anything else. And yes, happy Mother's Day to everybody. So the called Fire Within. And I reflect back to Mother Teresa once said, a life not lived for others is not a life. And this poem tells the story of women who live to help and protect others. So the title again is Fire Within. Her inner warrior kindled at birth, awakened a protective presence. Fires burned within her heart, fiery hot, like heat kept on a slow rolling boil. Hardcore, unstoppable, unrelenting, not just surviving, but thriving. Facing adversity, waging battles, fighting injustices unfailingly. Standing up for beliefs, speaking for those muted, persevering in the face of obstacles, acting in the service of others, protecting those too weak to fend for themselves, taking a stand, having a vision, modeling bravery, strength, vitality, stoking our courageous inner fires, knowing these qualities live in all. My poems are usually pretty short, so you'll probably get a nice arrangement of them. The next one is a poem after Sonia Sanchez's poem at 30. And it tells about weariness and a search for restoration. Poem at 60. Noontime in New York. Eyes hairy with the weight of the world. Too tired not to think in clicks. No, cliches. Whatever. Too tired to care. Too tired to bother. Too tired to sleep. Once I slept like a motherboard, waking up, freshly restored to factory specifications. That was before my warranty expired and the factory recall. Can they even find the part? And this one's a little bit lighter. And this one is a tribute to caregivers and the joy they find in quiet moments. Silence speaks volumes. After a long day of laundry and cooking, the baby monitor finally falls silent. Pressure I didn't know I was holding releases. Peace descends over the house like a cozy cashmere quilt. Muting the television noise, I unwind into the surround sound of silence. Eyes unplug, shoulders descend, breath expands. And this is another little short one. And this one tells a story of a quiet evening at home with a best friend. And the name of the poem is Oscar. Oscar. Filled my wine glass with ice cold Chardonnay, made a snack of cheddar cheese and crackers, placed all on the small oak table next to my comfy club chair. Stretched for my yarn satchel tucked under my feet. Tried not to jar anything as I made the reach. My sweet Oscar slept soundly in my lap while I knitted his sunflower sweater, until he let out a muffled woof and his legs twitched as he chased squirrels in his doggy dream. And then this one it's called Anna and Inventory, and it's after Lorraine Russell's Peggy and Inventory, if anyone's familiar. As a neurodivergent poet, Anna and Inventory speaks to and from my heart. Like Anna, I too like quiet moments that let me appreciate and take a deep dive into the wonders that are around me. Okay, so this is Anna and Inventory. She wears earplugs and plays a white noise machine to diffuse and quiet the air so she can better hear the thoughts stirring behind her pondering eyes. She has long blonde hair and a curvy figure, both developed and nurtured. She keeps her fingernails short and her toenails polished, because that's the perk provided by the shop where they're trimmed. She uses her own expressive words, revisioning for edits, cello for cheery hello, and coincide dance for coincidence. She's not a busybody when she looks out the window. She's neighborhood watching. She loves the sound wine makes when it's first poured. Glug, glug, glug. Because happy sounds should be amplified. She finger waves to little ones who make eye contact on her daily morning walk around Warren Street. She watches for the wren to sing in the warming weather. She wonders if it's the same wren returning each spring. She ruminates on whether it might be his son or brother or best friend. He. She knows it's a male. Looks and sounds the same each year. She speaks low from the belly to get attention. She speaks childlike to shine and lighten the air. She picks up her pen to heal right. She makes sense of her world through words. She writes to let out all that is contained but churning to be released. Thank you. The next one is called Smells Like Jersey Shore. And the title is an homage to Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit, if anybody's familiar. And it tells of the New Jersey shore and the impact the 2023 Canadian fires had on our Jersey Shore air. The title again is Smells Like Jersey Shore. Tar-coated pilings, burning sand, Midway grilled sausage, vinegar crinkle fries, coconut tanning oil, boombox blaring, cheap henna tattoos, extra ear piercings, lifeguard whistling, riptide warnings, breeze off the bay, green flies biting, breeze off the ocean, sails billowing, boogie boards riding waves, seagulls stealing, hamburgers grilling, salt slicks, parching lips, Canadian wildfires, streaming smoky fog, burning, throat closing, woods firing, but no marshmallows roasting. And that one too was published. I don't know if anybody knows of US1 worksheets. was one of the things they published. And this is a nice a poem on a lighter note about an alarm clock and a sleeper reluctant to leave their bed. And it's called In the Morning. A shadow of illumination slivers through the lower left corner of my blackout shades. What the heck? It can't be morning already. Further investigation is needed. Tunnel out of my quilted cocoon, my eyes on latch, always a good thing. Oh, yeah, morning has erupted. I lift my head, like probing for the green digital numbers. 712. Not feeling that number. Need to do better. Okay, let the games begin. What is an appealing time to leave my berth and venture into the latrine? 717. A balanced number, still too soon. 720. A tiny round orb, but too early for philosophy. 725. 2 plus 5. Math is fun, but not yet. I finally settle on 7:30 as today's launching interval and wait patiently for the clock to catch up. If I miss it, there's always 7:33. I do love a double digit. And then the final poem, thank you for listening, is called Gentle Grasp, which is also the title of my debut collection. And it tells the brief life story of a raindrop who hangs in there for a little while. So Gentle Grasp. After morning rain, droplets light is captured like a mirrored reflection hiding in the sun's shadow. Effervescent, sighing gently, a perfect teardrop clinging to a bud. Invisible, delicate hold, shimmering clean, crystal clear clarity, gasping, a gentle grasp. Movement makes it tremble, relinquishing, plummeting, fading from sight as it skydives to the ground. Thank you very much, Sandy, Kim, and Don.
Thank you. That's Laura Daniels. And, you know, here's what I love about poetry. I'm never going to see I would never see some of the things that each one of you has seen and will articulate. Every time I hear a poet, I'm taken to a world that I wouldn't be able to access on my own. And what you do that diverges from what I do and see is I would never. The second you were like, we're going to talk about the raindrop, I'm like, I have never ever meditated on a raindrop like that. And I'm like, why not? You know, there it is. And then that clock, the digital numbers moving through that timeline, like it requires a slowing down to really pay attention in a way that I have not learned yet. That's what I learned, is like the way that you pay attention. You know, that you see what I cannot see yet. Except now I've gotten to see it a little better. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. The book is Gentle Grasp. That is Laura Daniels. Great job. There you go. Yep, there it is. There it is. Thank you. Okay. I I met Jen Jabaily-Blackburn in the middle of nowhere in a field. Well, it wasn't a field quite. It was at somebody's house, but it feels like it was a field. At an amazing event on the 4th of July. Now, was it last year? Was it only 1 year ago?
Yeah, it was last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in 1 year.
Yeah.
A lot. I almost felt like it was two.
It's
I
been a
mean,
good
I'd like to think I've known you
one.
for 2 years, but it's only been one. Whoa. Okay. Anyway, this annual event where people get together
Mhm.
and read Walt Whitman's Song of Myself in the round. A spectacular thing. And we got talking about poetry. We swapped our collections, like standing in the road or like on the roadside. That doesn't happen that often. I love it. And then so I read the book, and then I got to hear you also talk about the book on Poet Talk out
Mhm.
of UMass Amherst. Amazing, amazing interview. It is recorded. If you want to have a very an additional great different kind of listen and hear Jen go in conversation with the three co-hosts about the book. Oh, it was amazing. And we meet up at AWP, like, and not to mention, sometimes I'll come up to Smith and I'll see you at a reading at Smith. So I am so happy I met you, and I am so happy that I am in relative proximity to you. And I am tremendously happy that I am in proximity to this book, Girl in a Bear Suit. I don't know if you're going to talk about the cover. It's fine if you don't, but this is one of the most like surreal, beautiful covers. I love it. I always love having it around me, and I love what's inside. The poems are they take me on a incredible, incredible journey, and you all are about to experience that with Jen Jabaily-Blackburn. Let me go to the more formal bio. Well, Jen Jabaily-Blackburn is the author of the full-length collection Girl in a Bear Suit, winner of the Elixir Prize, the Elixir Press's annual poetry prize. She also authored the chapbook Disambiguation from Salamander at Suffolk University in 2024, and is the winner of the Louisa Solano Memorial Emerging Poet Award from Salamander, selected by Stephanie Burt. Her recent work has appeared or is coming soon from The Common, On the Seawall, and Sir, among others. Originally from the Boston area, she now lives in Western Massachusetts with her family and is the program and outreach coordinator for the Battelle Day Poetry Center at Smith College. An amazing, amazing poetry center in the United States. If you can get yourself to Western Massachusetts, it's an incredible hub of poetry, and you will love, love, love what the Battelle Day Center curates in person and online. So please welcome the girl in a bear suit, Jen Jabaily-Blackburn.
Thank you, Sandy. Thanks for the invitation to read today. And I also want to thank Kim and Dawn for the work that you both are doing to support this. And I'm so glad to be reading with all of you. So thanks a lot. So I told my daughter, it is Mother's Day. I told her I would read a couple of her favorites. So this is for her. This is Love Poem for Seven Starlings. Look, I'll say it before we get started. Time to settle your side bets. A murmuration. It is called A Murmuration of Starlings. Concerning starlings, most information is practical, backyard birder level, and most often concerns not starlings, as in how to feed grackles, but not starlings, how to feed sparrows, but not starlings. A hierarchy emerges. Even among the nuisance birds, one must be the least wanted. Even so, its geometry is captivating, like watching someone calmly untangling handfuls of string, an out-of-focus cascade like shook-out silk over a mirroring wave. On the bird internet, we'd 100% be considered nuisance mammals. Once Mary Oliver famously wrote, "You simply can't imagine how they do it." But I can. We can. They've done the science. You can break murmurations into parties of 7. Suddenly, the unearthly high mind of it, the vast I am locutus of Borg of it, contracts to a molecular level of large parties in a Times Square lunch rush. These are my nearest starlings. Mom, Greg, Dad, Susie, Piglet. So there's a space left. For what? Exactly. It's unsettling to live outside the exactly gate. How will I know the true form of my last starling? Maybe it's poem space. Maybe it's you. Oh, that's so embarrassing sometimes. I am a super child and only have space for 6 discrete forms of mom: current mom, historical mom, pre-mom, ode to peak mom, nano mom, post mom. The word mom itself now jumbled, its shape just a head and knuckles pulling up on a lake dock, a way I've never seen her do. My point on the mom continuum demands being honestly in love with a nuisance world. Can this still be a love poem if it lacks a defined interest? If everything interesting demands an attention that isn't just like love, but is an exacting, unoptional love? Can it be a love poem if I have to admit I'll need mom to hoist out of this black lake before me? That I will need my own beautiful piglet to watch me go? Yes, there is a correct order. So if pressed, one could divine a mathematically optimal best day to go, the least potentially painful. Listen, when I work it out, I will buy us all dresses. Um, yeah, I that weirdly or not weirdly is one of my 9-year-old daughter's favorite poems. I think because I'm granting her a long life, I hope. Um, so a lot of this book, and yeah, to say a little bit about the cover artist is Michael McGrath. You can find him on Instagram. That's where I found his work. I mean, he's all over, but I saw the painting that ends up on the cover of this book, and it just felt so in line with the work that I was doing. I was writing about metamorphoses, like literally Ovid's Metamorphoses, but also like that, what that process feels like. Um, and I just thought that is a girl who looks like she wants to go into the woods. So yeah, I was really glad that he let me use it for the book. The next poem, I'm trying to keep an eye on the clock, is called The Many Exciting Possibilities of Metamorphosis. Not all rocks are rocks. Some are observed to cry, but never know it. Some cry reverberant with lost children. Some rivers disappear underground and reappear somewhere safer. Some flood out of pure panic. If you find you are now a tree, may you be a tree where no one has ever known you. May they not harvest your limbs. May you never be one. Maybe you'll be granted long life, then held in the after by your best others' branches. May you become a wild thing and not remember the idea of hunter before his arrow has gone and translated you to stars. May you rest under a dome of snow in dreamless sleep. No clock, but the sense the air is full again. No blank, cold scent of ozone. You could become a boring gray bird who gets 3 odd more winters, or a bird who makes boring birds struggle in her beak. Maybe one night you'll go to sleep by a can of Springworks snakes and wake up a mass of live snakes decorating the head of a creature who's never existed before or since. May you then make your own creature who doesn't look a bit like you, a creature in need of 2 saddles, the solid first to hold a rider, the other a mother's invisible wish to fly. May you serve yourself in this new life. I'm going to read a couple of poems, or at least one poem, about Callisto. She's kind of the main figure in this collection. The narrative of Callisto is drawn from Ovid's Metamorphoses. So, long story short, the important part that you need to know is that she is a woman who's transformed into a bear. And it's meant to be a punishment, but in my hope for her in the story is that it doesn't have to be. So I want to figure what does it feel like to be carrying these different ideas of how to be around? What is it to carry around a bear self and a human self? So this is Callisto buys off the guard dog. Once I was asked to name my favorite color, and surprise to me, said plummy purple, color of my first lash out into a world of thingness, a change purse in the shape of a silk fish. How I keep bringing its surfaces toward me. I can't stress how weird it is to relearn currency. Away from people, what even is money? Money nowhere near as good as how to solve a problem. How do we eat? The dog guarding the garbage pile doesn't want money. Money just a hum on a server, a fan overclocking. What would the dog do with a collection of hums? The dog wants a bone. I bring him the femur of a deer, not clean, not even cooled. He looks away and lets me pass. I did that. My currency. It almost looks human. I wanted to read a couple of new pieces or newer pieces that aren't in the collection. This one, the Jersey Shore poem that we just heard, kind of made me want to call an audible and read it. So this is similar to my rocky New England beach where I grew up. Domestic Sciences of the 1980s. 1. We were expected to be capable of finding sleep anywhere, all weathers, all conditions, overhead lighting and the TV talking, and people talking back at the TV, as if we hadn't had our own important nothing to accomplish, on sofas hard as forgotten bread, but also somehow full of quicksand, under scratchy acrylic crochet afghans, made because someone had to prove she could make something useful from nothing, and then we had to use it. 2. And the radios never played our songs. No lullabies, just played songs, their whole worlds of desire and alphabet we didn't know. Not yet. Your choice was get carried off in a melody's pneumatic tube or sulk and be bored forever. On the pink-skied rides home, in sweltering centuries and caprices, skin salt tight and starting to peel. No turn on the air. What air? 3. The word galvanized springs to mind. This was a way people wanted things, like nuts and bolts, steel trash cans that hurricanes with auntie uncle names would hurl down the streets, would wash out holy bridges, would bite the skinny rocky necks. How am I still this tender? 4. The day we learned erosion in school, intuitively we already knew. It's something between what the waves do to pocket rocks, to make them pocketable. And the day in fall, Gloria ate the beach, then no more beach. Um, and I'm going to finish off with one of my daughter's other favorites. This is Mommy Hotel. Mommy Hotel is a hotel, not a motel, but it may look like one. It is right next to the sea. It is not an express. It is not a by Marriott. There are no beeping breakfast machines in the lobby. There is no lobby. Mommies do not have to pay for Mommy Hotel. It is paid in full by a cool aunt energy foundation. No one needs to apply. It's basically a MacArthur for mommies, where someone puts your name in, then one day in the future, you get a call saying, "Hey girl, it's Mommy Hotel. Welcome." The selection process is opaque, but the one thing you know is you do not have to be good. It says as much right on your mug. Once a day, your loved ones drive by in red parade cars, waving. They never say miss you. No, it's always a sunny see you soon. The staff is so well paid by Big Cool Aunt. The mommies all say thank you for everything, every time, but neatly in a way that considers the recipient's feelings. There's an office with everything you need. Your projects can go in a cupboard by the door. Someone will launder your also no tote bag. Go ahead, sneeze. You can pee on anything. You can ask for a shiny puce loner liver at the desk like you might a toothbrush. There's the sea right there, but no pressure. If you want to just watch it to an erratic party of wind chimes, okay. You can go in if you want, but do whatever. Thanks.
What perfect poems to read on Mother's Day. I mean, you know what you're doing, Jen. You know what you're doing. I'm not I'm not even a mother and I want to go to that hotel.
Yeah, I mean,
I
right?
mean, who doesn't, right? Like who doesn't want to go to that hotel?
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. The other thing I want to say, thank you for reading one of the Callisto poems.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Callisto poems in the collection, and I I I just have to let you know that I was thinking of Callisto and the Mad Honey because the first line, last night I dreamt I went to the Dairy Queen again
Yeah.
because I am taking my mom to the Dairy Queen after this reading.
Really?
Yes, I am. And so I was trying to channel that maybe you'd read it, but it's okay.
Oh, I had it on my list. I was going to.
It's,
Oh,
it's okay. It's okay. And it's folks, what I appreciate about the Callisto poems, and we heard it, we heard it in Callisto buys, um begs off the guard dog. We heard it. It's like just the surrealness of this book is astounding. The places where we travel, and it is so much like going in. It is like going into this picture, right? You can see that there's an area that we can't see, and that the girl's gotta go. The girl's gotta go. And what's there? No one knows. Except Jen. Jen.
Well, the thing about that poem, because like I do find all of this really surreal in so many ways, that poem comes from a story that I read about a bear, a real bear that was trying to get access to a dump, and there was a dog, and they worked out some sort of arrangement. So it feels so impossible and so silly, and like how do these intelligences even happen? And yet like it's how the world works around us all the time.
Well, your daughter is so fortunate to be around your beautiful self and what you bring to all the parties. I hope that I will see you on July 4th in the field again.
Oh, I hope so too.
I hope so. And if not, I'll see you at Smith College, at the Patel Day Poetry Center at Smith College. Thank you for all the work that you do. You're an amazing poetry citizen, and I love it when I can amplify that. And the reading series, do sign up, folks, because the programming that Jen curates, along with Matt Donovan, and you've got a whole cadre of folks doing the work, is astounding. I've really been enjoying living out here on the East Coast so that I can partake of what you do there at Smith College. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful reading. Love it. That's Jen Jabaily. Jen Jabaily-Blackburn, girl in a bear suit. Okay. Well, Patricia Clark is next, and Patricia has read with us before, from her previous collections. She comes when she can. She'll read in the open mic. She is a devotee of Cultivating Voices live poetry. I so appreciate how you interact with us, how you're true blue member of the group. So when you have a book, you got to come on.
All right.
We have to have you on, always. Always. There's like no hesitation about it. Like,
Yay.
why would we not have you on? Poetry. I love how you think. I love how you write. I love how you read. And, that's another reason we'll bring you any day of the week. Because you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Like, you are solid. Beautifully solid. And every time I get to hear you, I am reminded of that. I'm like, oh, if I could just hear Patricia every day, everything would be good in the world. Everything would be fine. Everything would be fine. So today's one of those extraordinary days that we get to hear her. A beautiful day. A very, very beautiful day. Again, this, folks, I told you, I've had this one on my calendar for, a long time, and I've been like, oh, I can't wait for that day to show up. I cannot wait for that day to show up. And here it is.
Here it is.
Here it is. With an apt title for the book that we're going to hear from. 7th book. That's lucky. And the book is called Oh Lucky Day. Today is our lucky day because we have the pleasure of hearing from Patricia Clark. Patricia Clark is the author of Oh Lucky Day from Madville 2025. here we are. 7th book, which Naomi Shihab Nye says, quote, makes a reader feel luckier in every possible way. That is how I do feel when I get to hear you read. That truly, that sums it up right there. Other book titles include Self-Portrait with $1 Million, My Father on a Bicycle, She Walks into the Sea, Sunday Rising, and The Canopy. Patricia's poetry has appeared in The Atlantic, Slate, and the Gettysburg Review, among scores and scores of others. And her recent work is published in Plume and Sheila Nagig, probably my favorite journal to say on the planet, Sheila Nagig.
Yeah.
And is forthcoming in Diagram and in the Atlanta Review. Please welcome the just ever most welcome person to Cultivating Voices by Poetry, dear friend, Patricia Clark.
Boy, Sandy, you cannot be outdone with your introductions. They're really pretty special and kind of over the top. I don't know. Am I going to live up to any of this? We'll have to see, won't we? I like it though. You're really something. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, Kim Parsons, Don Krieger, and all of you listening and here. It's really wonderful. I'm coming from Michigan today, but I'm really a West Coast person and a Washington State person. I know you were out there a long time, Sandy. I've got that place in my blood. So I thought I'd read some mother kind of poems. I can't really stop writing about my mother. I guess that's what happens. And you don't think you're going to become your mother, but just wait long enough and you will. Because my mother used to have my father carry a shovel in the car so she could say to him, stop the car, I see something I want to dig up. And now I have my husband carry a shovel in the car. Someone said to me, is that for dead bodies or what? And I'm like, no, plants. The only other thing you need to know is the rhododendron is the state flower of Washington State. So this is called rhododendron. Along the road, we stop for rhododendrons, hidden in the midst of ferns. Beads of rain collect on mother's hair, where she stands holding a blanket while father digs. I can't believe we're out in the rain without our coats, and I wish the ranger would come and arrest mother. This is her idea. Now, as father gathers it into his arms, trailing the roots, mother follows, flushed with crime. Conspiratorial with pleasure, they don't need me here, for he places it tenderly on the car's floor and hums all the way home, Tacoma, seeing her face out of the corner of his eye. She's planning where to put the rhododendron, banking the roots with dirt, already tending to her red booty. And I should have said I was going back in time a little. This is from my first book, North of Wondering. And I'm going to read a poem next from She Walks into the Sea. We went camping a lot in the summer, and one summer my mother got hurt. It was really pretty awful. She actually got hit by a boat, the propeller, and it was really awful. But she survived, and she was okay. But years later, years later, a cousin sent me a Christmas card. And in this Christmas card, there was a photograph. Well, of course, she didn't write on it who was in the photograph. I couldn't tell. It looked like my mother, way out in the water, waiting, and a boat was speeding by. And my cousin, she never knew about this accident. So it really triggered something, and I wrote a poem weaving a couple of stories together. So you'll have to track it kind of carefully. It's called She Walks into the Sea. I dream my mother alive again after the photograph, half sky, half water, her figure walking away, and further out to sea, a striped speedboat with its single occupant flinging its wake, white, past. After the photograph, I dream my mother here, back, half sky, half sea, and the memories of so many rivers that names pile up, Satsip, Puyallup, Rogue, like surf. A boat veered long ago at Lake Chelan, hitting her. The lawyers sued, a settlement looked for on a wave. Always she preferred salt water, its buoyant, curative state. Why in the photograph does a speedboat kick past? It goes cutting through deeper water. See the drop-off falling away? It poses no danger to the woman standing waist-deep in water. The boat is striped. The water lies in stripes, shallow, deep. I dream my mother alive again after the photograph. Struck by the boat, she lay bleeding in water. No danger now. If a settlement came, there would be money, money deep as water. In the photograph, she walks into the sea. When I dream her back, still she goes stepping into water. I want to keep her from my fears at horizon's edge, the speedboat, an injured woman down, bleeding in water. I dream my mother alive again after the photograph, saying whatever words I can to lure her from the sea, vowing to love her better next time, this time, to accept settlement or money, water, the speedboat tearing past. And if the money never flooded in, the lawyer's bills all due in cash, if the boat's driver was just a boy, never found at fault, did a woman still lie down bleeding in water? If I had known how long she would be gone, whether she joined the ones she loved or not, but the water lay in stripes, muddy, not clear, if a long time meant forever. After the photograph, I could not catch my breath. A secret now coming true that had lain buried in the sea. Something about a woman stepping in time into water, the one watching from shore, tasting salt on her lips. So my cousin, without even realizing it, triggered this poem. And that was really sweet. I had to thank her later. I don't think she knew who was in the photograph. And, for writing, sometimes it doesn't matter. You go with what you believe it is, and that's the truth, the emotional truth. In other poems, I give my mother kind of a hard time. We didn't always have the best relationship. But then there are other times when I remember her being just like a mountain lion on certain things to protect people and her family. And that's what this poem, I'm intentionally fooling around with some of the pronouns, but I'll tell you how it works is there's a grandfather and then my father, and he's under the house here trying to unfreeze my grandfather's pipes. And the title is Because What We Do Lives On. This is not my gruff grandfather, not his hat or his cigar boxes, still fragrant. This is what she said late in his life, going over to his small house with frozen pipes. His grown son crawled under the house with a hairdryer, an extension cord, cobwebs, and spiders everywhere, and his hair caught on his sleeves. What's he doing now? The voice was not her husband's. Why is he taking so fucking long? When they were first married, she worked to welcome these people into her life, her children's lives. Christmas morning breakfast with cinnamon rolls and gifts. Years of gifts for the kids, a plastic comb, a pleated plastic rain bonnet, a card of bobby pins. She sat in the kitchen with him, the table with a jar of bacon fat next to the pepper and salt. If you ever speak to him like that again, she breathed, we won't be back. My mother, gone some 19 years, but living on with her iron fierceness. If you ever. And my grandfather sat silent, holding his hat in his hands, stopping his tongue. This is not his voice, his unshaven cheek, that kitchen, and its worn linoleum floor. This next poem is kind of a surreal invention. And again, where do people get ideas for poems? One of my sisters did some research, and she said my parents must have lived on this street in Winchester, Massachusetts, called Myopia Road. And I thought, wow, what a great name for a street, 36 Myopia Road. So I invented a bunch of stuff here, and my mother features in it a little bit, but of course I'm the star. 36 Myopia Road. I cannot see past the houses lining this street. Next door is 34, and across the street are odd numbers. Overhead, pelicans fly in search of seawater and fish. Or do I mean chimneys and storks? An hour to Marblehead Lighthouse, a house on the corner with a wide porch finally sold. I imagined our family there in future years. A red-headed girl named Ruth never went to school, always playing hopscotch. I think of her as one-legged and blind. When my people left for the West Coast, an egg in my mother's belly started to grow into me. I can see the family sleeping in fields as they cross North and South Dakota. Ripe apricots filched from trees, field corn to break teeth on, tomatoes, cukes. Settling into the Puget Sound salt air, they awaited my birth like the Messiah. Stars aligned, and magi came on horse and camelback. Once a blue and white parakeet appeared in a pine tree. My mother tried to catch it, and then I was born. I was afraid of deadly nightshade berries, Atropa belladonna, plump in the bushes in a border near our house. Pretending to eat them, we'd gag, falling dead. We played rock school on the porch steps, banishing the witch, kickball in the street. Dusk coming down always made it look like home. I really thought that quicksand was going to play a bigger part of adult life because it came up so much in television when I was little. I was really concerned about quicksand and I was ready to deal with it. It's never come up. I was going to say too that if you buy my book, and I would love it if you bought two books, like Reginald Betts said, but if you buy my book and if you write to me and tell me, patriciapoet@gmail.com, I'll send you an additional free book. Oh, I have a chapbook called Deadlifts where I wrote poems about other Patricia Clarks who had died because someone said to me, "Oh, that's a really common name." So I looked up all these obituaries, and there's a whole bunch of Patricia Clarks. And I'm still alive, but a bunch of them are dead, probably still more that have died. So it's called Deadlifts. I was taking an exercise class. And if you buy my book, write to me and I'll send you, give me your address and I'll send you a free copy of Deadlifts and I'll sign it for you. So this is a father poem. And I just had some really cool news that I actually won a pushcart prize, and it was for this poem. I really still can't believe it. It's called What My Father Wished For. I could never say anything about my father except he was quiet, and next to mother, he receded like a hermit crab into its shell. Is that an excuse at 17 for raising my voice against him, trying my best to goad him to anger? How can you just go to work, drive downtown day after day, arriving on time, leaving at 5? Don't you ever start asking yourself what it all means? Someone should have slapped me. I see the kitchen at Brown's Point, a round table where we sat, high cliff light over the bay, smoky stink of pulp mills, a madrona tree by the deck, sickened by sewage. He's about to drive me to Stadium High, down Snake Hill, across Tacoma's tide flats, drawbridges opening and closing like jaws for tankers heading out west to Japan, stacked high with lumber or salt, later jeeps and tanks for Vietnam. And then I badgered him too. Why can't you take a stand against the war? This hurled at my father, who'd enlisted after Pearl Harbor with his favorite brother, a brother who didn't come home from Germany. Did someone call regret permanent remorse? After my father's diagnosis, he refused to talk about death. I've had everything in life I could have wanted. When the priest came to the house, Dad sat up in bed, talking as though he'd be around weeks, as the sunset turned salmon, then mauve over Commencement Bay. Later, he leaned in, close to me, to say, "One thing, though, I wish I'd had a sister." He told me this, sotto voce, when I sat alone beside him, holding his hand through the metal rails. And I thought I'd close with a nature poem, kind of exuberant, because it really was what my mother was like. She said if you went down to the water, you had to go in and swim, and that salt water was a healing thing, and you would be happier and better because of that. So this is for her. It's called Forest Bathing. Each button undone, each tooth of a zipper gapped to let pants, jacket fall open. Each strap and hem of a top, blouse, shirt says, "Oh, skin, you have wanted this so much, to lie down, meadow grass, tickling, a see-through green, too early for mosquitoes, you hope, to have nothing between you and petal, tendril, bundle of last year's milkweed, packed filament upon filament in the pod, poised for release, to scatter like birdsong. Each thread carrying a seed like a word on the wind, though not a syllable uttered. This splash in what isn't liquid, but spills out nevertheless. Drift of grass blade, petals, blossom, leaf." Thanks a lot, folks.
Beautiful. Once again. The book is Oh Lucky Day from Madville Press, Patricia Clark. Thank you. You brought up so many things that were just astoundingly interesting to me. One, I mean, your mother is she's your mother, and she's a character bigger than life, of course. Like there's so much there that just in less than 15 minutes, I learned about kind of this larger than life figure, and that the poem about the photograph, that poem is a tour de force. I was just with every turn of that poem. How you mastered that story and turned it into an incredible poem. I love it. I love that poem. And the other thing, just a reminder, everybody, we're on this planet. All of us here in this room who are poets, and everybody is. We're we are in we are in we are in this business to illuminate the absurd and turn it into the profound, and vice versa. And so Myopia Road, there it is right there. That it's like the epitome of, and Washington State is chock full of these names of places that, like my poetry professor, Deception Pass. I
Isn't
mean,
that a great name?
unbelievable. That was the title of her first collection, Deception Pass. She's from Whidbey Island. She was from Whidbey Island. She's alive and well with us. And then the other thing, and Jen mentioned it too in the chat, quicksand, right? Like the obsession with quicksand, it was ever a threat, and yet it never shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always hearing about it. It's like was always on TV, like people, particularly on like Saturday cartoons. Like everybody was being taken under by quicksand. And and I live on a beach, right? Like so it's really like, oh my God, when is the quicksand coming? And then it kind of never does. Oh my gosh. So just thank you, thank you again for illuminating the profoundly absurd and the absurdly profound together.
Good.
Once
Good.
again. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, everyone, we move from Patricia Clark to, today's, we don't ask people to read particular things. We say, bring your new book, bring out of that book what you care to bring to us. Everybody curated like on their own, and yet I love that there's this thread today, kind of a connection to the divine feminine in a way. I will say the divine feminine in a way. And our next reader, Lillo Way, is going to take us soaring into the sky with her poem from Flying, Trapeze Poems. And before I read the formal bio, I want to say I love when a poetry reading in person is an experience. Create experiences wherever you can go. So for instance, when the Glass Studio came out, we go to the hot shop at the Museum of Glass and we have them blowing glass behind us. Make it an experience that no one can forget. I will never ever forget in my whole life being with Lillo Way, hearing these poems, flying trapeze poems, when we were in Seattle this February. I'm going to say debuting our poetry circus because I want to do it again. We had Lillo, the trapeze artist. I was a carny, and Heidi Seaborn was the ringmaster. Oh my gosh. Woo! So I know what you're about to hear, folks. I know what you're about to experience. And just get ready. Get seated. I'm going to go to the... Lillo Way's latest book is Flying, Trapeze Poems from Redbird Chapbooks, 2024. It's also one of the most beautifully put together chapbooks I've ever seen, in addition to what is inside. It's with these, the circus posters, the real thing. Exquisite. Lillo's poetry collection, Lend Me Your Wings, is described by Ellen Bass as rich in music and in imagination, a celebration and a joy. Her chapbook, Dubious Moon, won the Hudson Valley Writers Center Slappering Hall Press Chapbook Contest. Our good friends out there in Hudson Valley. And her poems have won the E. Cummings Award and a Florida Review Editor's Prize. Her writing has appeared in such journals as New Letters, Poet Lore, Tampa Review, Louisville Review, Poetry East, and in many anthologies. Way has received grants from the NEA, the New York State Council of the Arts, and the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation for her choreographic work involving poetry. I am overjoyed. I am trying to stay in my seat because I'm ready to go on the trapeze with you right now. Please help me in welcoming Lillo Way.
Thank you, the inimitable Sandy Yannone. And thank you, Don and Kim. I'm honored to be reading with Laura and Jen and Patricia Clark. This poster is from 1895, I believe. They are the Flying Dillons, and the central character is Lillo Dillon, who happens to be my grandmother. So the prefatory poem, this is a little collection of poems in her voice, but the prefatory poem is an overview of her life very briefly. So I'll begin reading that. Prologue, Lillo Dillon. She arrived in a drowsy back river town by way of the Big Top. She sailed to America from England on a flying trapeze, discovered by Barnum and booked by the greatest show on earth. A poster depicts the wasp-waisted flying Dillons, demons of the air. My teenage grandmother and her two brothers, Elspeth and Echo. She met the top billing equestrian aboard ship and married him at the little church around the corner, 29th and Madison, around the corner from the old Madison Square Garden, where they were playing, which means working, which means flying, which means riding. With each of her children came a smaller circus until there were no circuses left, and the great aerialist opened a corner grocery store in Havre de Grace, Maryland, and went quietly blind. So all the rest of the poems are persona poems, first person singular, in the voice of Lillo Dillon. So I am now Lillo Dillon, reading just a few of the poems that my granddaughter wrote about me. 3 years after learning to walk, I learned to walk on a tightrope. Mama sews my slippers and leotards, trims them in curtain fringe. At 4, I'm an acrobat. I run up the springboard, flip, and land on my feet. The size of an orangutan, I clamber up a rope the way a monkey would, catch the rings which refuse to behave. Papa lifts me by the waist and hangs me on the trapeze bar as if to dry. Together, Elspeth and I fit easily on it, playing games while singing. That bar is our swinging home. We won't be coaxed down to earth where our legs feel like granite. Papa's surname is Stone. He gives us Mama's name, Dillon. Says he couldn't very well call us the Flying Stones, now could he? Echo. My little brother stands on tiptoe in the garden, face up, sun-cupped, imitating the birds. A flycatcher swoops from a tree, somersaults, darts back to its branch. My brother's laughter bounces off the walls of the house, and my father renames him Echo. Elspeth and I will learn to pitch ourselves from our perch, arc and wheel, but Echo is a born catcher. Some people give and some receive. Every night, Echo receives us, then tosses us back where we belong. Every night, I give myself away to my eager audience, their upturned faces, wide eyes. Catchers call listo, cueing the flyer to push off from the platform. Listo, listo. Aerialists hear it in their dreams. Echo is the only one who whistles the flycatcher's 3 notes, ba ba ba, learned as a child in Liverpool. Come to me. He catches me by my wrists, tosses me up, catches me again by my feet, the whomp of the waited moment. Perfect connection. New World. From the gilded theaters and opera houses of Europe, where we are called artistes, the star attraction on a single stage, accompanied by a string ensemble, sharing the bill with violin virtuosi, ballerinas, and leader singers. Our audiences in kid gloves and fine millinery, velvet seated in balconies bathed in golden light. 2, tenting on America's great plains in the cacophonous clang of rigging on its way up or down and the pandemonium of 6,000 spectators, overalled men and barefoot children, crowding and crowing around 3 rings of performers, simultaneously risking our lives, amidst the jamboree of a brass band, followed or preceded by wild animals and human anomalies. My new world expands as my old pride shrinks. Welcome to the backlot. Sylvie, the petite bear trainer, sunbathes on the far side of Alphonse, who is working his barbells. Even after bathing, he radiates the faint scent of his big cats. Trixie, the contortionist tumbler, paints her toes. Alicia colors the hair by which she will hang tonight, twirling. Her partners, Ajax and Ozzy, play cards. Welcome to the backlot, the performer's backyard. Folding steamer chairs line aisles created by taut tent ropes and our down-angled clotheslines. Late morning and between shows, we spread out from the ring into our version of a neighborhood. Animal wagons and canvas sheets block view and passage. We've each got a big tub for scrubbing our clothes and 2 water buckets, our names inscribed for bathing and drinking. Only the clowns get 3. I stretch my limbs, mend our slippers. Rosie, my eldest, the only talented one of my brood, has her substantial nose in a book. My others play tag, marbles, and blind man's bluff. They giggle, happy as suburbanites, glad to be off the wire. You won't see my husband here. Something always needs doing among his horses, his other family. If he appears in the backlot, it is only to nudge Rose to come rehearse. Ram and Tan touch up the red and white paint of their springboard. Antonio rides by on his unicycle, a filled bucket in each hand, no drop spilt. I'm startled by Freddie and Sam without their clown makeup. Their faces seem too private to be displayed uncovered. Jean-Christophe, a bareback rider, backflips over me just to see my surprise, hear my laughter. One morning in the backlot, my friend Rita of the Dog Act gives me a Chihuahua puppy. I name her the first word that comes to mind: joy. Descent. I'm saved nightly from death when my brother catches me by the ankles mid-plunge. Flyers often black out while balled up, tight, tumbling. Come to when hands slap against wrists or ankles and clasp hard. An aerialist friend falls, dies within minutes. My brothers hang up the ropes and return to England. No one to catch me now. My waist widens. 2 of my infants die. I train my eldest children to the high wire, a family novelty act with tutus and parasols. Our dinner served from huge stained pots in the shabby food tent of a third-rate circus. My children sitting on overturned buckets. In all their memories, they are hungry. Mythos. My daughters lie about their ages, having missed seasons of school. I embroider golden crowns on their underwear, that in their most private moments, they might remember they are of royal blood, their royalty arising from palace forebearers, jesters to the kings and queens of England, who fooled their way into the bedchambers of blue bloods. One family's myth, defense against the jeers, the epithet circus trash. Straight spines, heads held high, a crown to the knickers. Housebound. Don't want to soar in the atmosphere. Want to sit on my muscular buttocks on the bleachers, eat peanuts, and clap my calloused hands. Hold my most recent child in one arm, smell the sweetness of her new spirit. I've tasted fame. I know the ropes. Been on them since I could walk. Want a kitchen instead of a cookhouse, and a house that doesn't roll on tracks. I'll stride away from the canvas tents, stroll into a home, a nursery, leave my overworld, society's underworld. Erase the shame from my children's lives. We'll laugh and amble the park. I relinquish the air to the angels and fairies. Wake in the morning, feet on the ground, earthbound, unspangled. Look at me in my very first house dress. And this is the penultimate poem, and then I'll read the final poem. Just a song at twilight. Proud blind woman who had once flown, I now live solely in the company of birds. The only music I want to hear, theirs. Sometimes their songs make me laugh, other times I sing to them. I'll see you in my dreams. They answer me, call and response. Song lyrics and songs without words catch each other mid-air. Though the heart be weary, fountain of bird notes, still comes your old sweet song. I trill, they trill faster. They whistle, I hold their liquid note longer. My timbre clear and bright as the wren's. I pause. My head cocks at the piccolo solo of a house finch. Evening grows dark. No darker for me. Farewell, my turtle dove, great clacking of beak and wing. Goodbye, my lady love. Goodbye. Epilogue. Flyer's ghost. Ha! Here I am, louche in the High Flyers Lounge, vast but weightless. Sailing without effort as I spent my life trying to do in one moment. Done. All the aerialists who ever lived are one flyer, our powerful bodies gone to pure spirit in a flash like follow spots on a sequin. Triple somersaults mid-air. Ha! Centuple, no problem. We'd heard the word bliss. Now we've got it. As long as we never, ever fall to earth again. Ha! Thank you.
I'm trying to unmute. I'm flying so high, I couldn't even come down to unmute myself. Every time. This is now my third time. The third time I'm hearing. Every time. I'm right there. I'm in the circus with you. It's the only place I want to be. It's the only place I want to be. Like to inhabit these poems, to experience these poems. That's the thing. It's an experience. An experience. So I hope, folks, next time you are able to have the experience of going to the circus, the poetry circus. Do it. You will not regret it. And maybe a girl in a bear suit will be there too. Thank you, Lillo. I'm speechless, which is rare. I'm rare. Thank you. Unbelievable. Again, the exquisite chapbook is flying. Trapeze poems. These are the real circus posters right here. This is the real deal. And it says, in a series of most marvelous midair feats and startling performances. And that's exactly what the poetry delivered too. The world's grandest, largest, best amusement institution. There it is. Thank you. Well, I hope you'll agree that today's performance by all four of our poets came together in that incredible way that only poetry can take us to the heights of the air, to the depths of the ocean, to the depths of the psyche, to the depths of the unknown, and bring us back again together to have, to come back down to earth, having been changed by the experience. That's what it's like every time we create a constellation of poets in our new book showcase. Would you please unmute and help me in thanking Laura Daniels, Jabaily-Blackburn, Patricia Clark, and Lillo Way for just this really wonderful afternoon.
Bravo, bravo.
Bravo!
Thank
Bravo!
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Woo,
Wow.
wow,
Thank you. Thank you.
wow, wow. It's wow.
Yeah, a nice grouping, Sandy. Really
Wow
nice.
factor.
It's
It's
a lot
wow.
of fun. It's a lot of fun. Beautiful poems.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we have spent another 90 minutes together, a few more, a little over 90. And I want to invite you all, of course, to come back next week, as if today did not take us on an incredibly beautiful, surreal, wild ride through time and space, literally. Next week, it's our final reading of May, and it's our wild card open mic where you all are the stars in the sky and anything goes. So I hope you'll bring your poems that you've been working on to share with us in the wild card open mic, same time as always, Sunday afternoon, 12 in the Pacific, 3 here on the East Coast, and over across the pond in Ireland, we start at 8 o'clock, but come 15 minutes early. That's when sign up begins on the 3/4 of the hour. Again, thank you so much to our readers today. Thank you to Laura and Jen and Patricia and Lillo, and do grab those links that are in the chat. Do support the presses as your resources allow. And those of you watching live and or watching on the recording, please do look for the links to all of our poets' books. Tomorrow they'll be posted on our Facebook page, Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Well, as I always say at the end of every program, friends, the world can't be any stranger. It's just every day is another day that we look toward what's possible, we see the impossible, and we try to use poetry to make it more plausible and livable, and to do that with a degree of depth that allows us to have a more profound understanding of what it means to, as Don Krieger always says, live within our shared humanity. So I hope that you will do just that this upcoming week in all the poetry circles that you interact with. I hope you will do your best to continue to share your humanity in all the wonderful ways that poetry allows us to show up. I hope you take very good care of yourselves, take extremely good care of your beloveds, and everybody, just keep writing and flying high with all of your poems. I'll see you next week for our wild card open mic. Hey, bring anybody you like. Everyone's welcome. See you next time.